সবাইকে আমন্ত্রণ ইউএস এমবাসি ঢাকা এবং দেশ টিভির বিশেষ আয়োজন আ কনভারসেশন উইথ বাংলাদেশ বাংলাদেশের সাথে আড্ডা অনুষ্ঠানে। আপনাদের নিশ্চয়ই মনে আছে আমরা এই আড্ডা শুরু করেছিলাম মার্কিন পররাষ্ট্রমন্ত্রী হিলারি ক্লিনটনের সফরের সময়।
I am very interested in Bangladesh and everything that you're doing, and I'm particularly interested in the young people of this country.
আমরা চাই বাংলাদেশের সাথে আড্ডা চালিয়ে যেতে। প্রতি মাসে একজন উচ্চপদস্থ মার্কিন কর্মকর্তা আসবেন আমাদের শোতে, আড্ডা দিবেন আপনাদের সাথে। আমাদের আজকের আড্ডা টপিক বেঙ্গল টাইগার, দি নেক্সট এশিয়ান টাইগার। আমরা আলোচনা করব বাংলাদেশের অর্থনীতি, এর চ্যালেঞ্জ, এর সম্ভাবনা এবং কিভাবে আজকের বেঙ্গল টাইগার পরবর্তী এশিয়ান টাইগার হয়ে উঠতে পারে। To discuss this issue, we have a very special guest here with us, a person who is passionate about Bangladesh and its people. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to U.S. Ambassador to Bangladesh, Ambassador Dan Mozena. Sir, welcome to A Conversation with Bangladesh.
Shabir, thank you very much. I'm very honored, very pleased to be here this evening.
I'm sure we are going to have an exciting conversation. We also have a bright young Bangladeshi businessman here with us, Deputy CEO of Multimode Group, Tabit Awal. Tabit, it's great to have you on our show.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to also personally thank Mr. Ambassador for not only for being here tonight with us, but also for his commitment to Bangladesh, which we've seen through his various activities since the time he's arrived here. So I look forward to this Adda very much.
Thank you very much. দর্শক, আপনারা জানেন যে বাংলাদেশের জনসংখ্যার সিংহভাগই তরুণ, তাই বাংলাদেশের সাথে আড্ডা মানেই বাংলাদেশের তরুণদের সাথে আড্ডা। আর সেজন্যই বাংলাদেশের তরুণ প্রজন্মের বেশ কয়েকজন আছেন আজকে আমাদের সাথে। A warm welcome to all. I'm sure we're going to have an exciting conversation. In fact, you are the heart of today's conversation. So, sir, as you have mentioned many times in your speeches that Bangladesh can very well be the next Asian tiger, and also many investors, most notably Goldman Sachs, consider Bangladesh as one of 11 countries that has the potential to become world's largest economy. So, what makes you hopeful that Bangladesh is really the next Asian tiger?
Oh, I have so many reasons, Shabir, for why I believe Bangladesh could be, should be, the next Asian tiger, the Bengal tiger. First and foremost, I think Bangladesh should be the number one, listen to this, the number one exporter of ready-made garments in the whole world. I think Bangladesh should be the number one exporter of household textiles, sheets and pillowcases, towels, in the whole world. And in addition to that, Bangladesh could be a major player in the construction of small freighters, in IT, information technology, in the production of generic drugs, in finished leather goods, jute production, raw silk production. Think of all those different areas. Think of the millions, literally millions and millions and millions of jobs that that would create. This could be the middle-income Bangladesh, the golden Bangladesh, in a decade or 15 years.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. And also, like, to achieve this goal, we have to face many challenges as well. So, and Tabit, you are a young businessman. So, what, according to you, are Bangladesh's challenges to achieve this Asian tiger goal we have?
The challenge is, obviously the objective is to be an Asian tiger. We ourselves aspire to be that, and we're very grateful to the United States for inspiring us to overcome these challenges to reach the ultimate goal. And I assure you, Mr. Ambassador, that us, the Tiger Cubs today, we do want to be the Asian tiger of tomorrow, not just a Bengal tiger. But to go to that road path, I'd like to share that we still have a lot of lacking in our HR, human resources, as we say. We have human capital, for sure. But we need to make that into skilled labor. We need to get talented managers. We have a lot of raw talent out there, you know, in the management level, in the corporate level. But someone is failing to guide them into taking on those leadership roles. Someone is failing to guide them into becoming analytical, into becoming independent thinkers. And for Bangladesh to truly achieve the status of an Asian tiger, we really need those independent minds to be promoted, to be nurtured, and to help us, the corporations, to go out there and, you know, create jobs, to create business, and as you said, to diversify into very innovative ways and substances.
Well,
And, sir,
I would see human resources as one of the challenges, but I think there are physical infrastructure challenges as well, because I've been down to Chittagong. I can't count how many times, and the port is functioning, but it's too small for the Bengal tiger. The roads that connect Chittagong to Dhaka are too narrow. The railroad is too small. Not enough energy, not enough power. Corruption, rule of law. These are some of the challenges too. I think you have to look at the whole package.
Of course.
Absolutely, and I think we have a couple of tiger cubs here, so maybe we would like to hear from them.
The challenge, as I was discussing with my fellow colleagues a little earlier, is that when QB launched in Bangladesh as a YMX company, 3 months earlier, this technology was launched in the United States alone. So it clearly shows how advanced this technology is, and yes, it is new to the world. So as we are trying to integrate this technology to our everyday life, we're having to ensure that people don't face such problems. And we also have the equipped people to deal with customer service. And when this technology is so new, and if you don't have the infrastructure ready to support this technology, the end result will not be a successful one. So we, as a nation, even as a developing country, are facing that, which is not faced in the developed countries like in the US.
I'd like to ask Mr. Ambassador about one of the challenges that Bangladesh might face, I think, from my point of view, is the external influences. External factors that, for example, IFC nowadays are telling the government to reduce subsidies, for example, increase the oil price. Don't you think that would increase the overall cost of living and everything, and that would be a barrier for our growth?
Well, you raise a good point. I think, though, at the end of the day, Bangladesh and the leaders of Bangladesh, the people of Bangladesh, the civil society of Bangladesh, have to do what's best for Bangladesh. End of story. Outsiders, like myself and like other outsiders, well-intentioned as we might be, we offer advice, and you take it or you don't take it. You should do what is the best thing for Bangladesh. Now, you're talking about subsidies for fuel. There's very strong argumentation for why subsidies should be reduced. But you could also counter-argue for why it's bad, because it does drive inflation. It makes life a little more difficult. So this is a decision for Bangladesh to make, to weigh, and outsiders will contribute their views. You can dismiss them or give them value as you wish. You weigh these different perspectives, and then you make a decision based on what's good for Bangladesh.
আমার মনে হয় যে মিস্টার অ্যাম্বাসেডর খুব ভালো একটা কথা বলেছেন, যেটা হচ্ছে যে আসলে আমাদের যে বন্ধুপ্রতিম রাষ্ট্রগুলো আছে তারা কিন্তু তাদের অ্যাডভাইসগুলো, সাজেশনগুলো দিবে, কিন্তু আমাদের ডিসিশন, বাংলাদেশ যদি বেঙ্গল টাইগার হতে চায় তাহলে সেই ডিসিশনগুলো আমাদের নিজেদেরই নিতে হবে। দর্শক, ছোট্ট একটা বিরতি নিচ্ছি, আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন, ফিরছি কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যেই। সবাইকে আবারও আমন্ত্রণ কনভারসেশন উইথ বাংলাদেশ, বাংলাদেশের সাথে আড্ডা অনুষ্ঠানে। তাবিদ ভাই, ব্যাপারে আপনার মতামত জানতে চাচ্ছিলাম, যেটা বললো এক্সটার্নাল ইনফ্লুয়েন্সের ব্যাপারে।
না, অবশ্যই এক্সটার্নাল ইনফ্লুয়েন্স সবসময় থাকবে, and internal influence will also be there. As Mr. Ambassador rightly put, we have to actually come up with our own planning. We have discussed infrastructure limited to port, railway, and road, but we have another infrastructure deficit in power, energy. We have infrastructure deficit in city planning. As you can see, Dhaka city has gained population over the days, I won't even say years, but we've not expanded any facilities. We've not been able to expand any area. So in this infrastructure crisis, we really internally we need to come up with a plan, 10 years, 15 years, or Vision 2021, as the present government wants to share. But we have to mean it. When we plan something, we have to implement it. The problem is not in planning. The problem is not in sharing our ideas. The problem is not in addressing external influences. But the problem is actually meaning what we say. And if we negotiate with the external factors that this is what we want to do, this is what we can do, and we will achieve certain goals and objectives. I don't think anybody can argue back with you.
Absolutely.
In this manner.
And also, sir, like as Tabit mentioned, that energy has been one of our biggest concerns. So how can United States help Bangladesh to solve our energy problem, or do you have any plans for future?
Well, I think the important thing on energy to remember, and this is one of my theories of Bangladesh, I think this is a blessed country. Energy, too, this country is blessed. It has significant reserves of gas. I'm very encouraged that an American oil company, ConocoPhillips, is doing exploration in the Bay of Bengal. And we don't know, won't know till the end of the year, the prospects for finding gas there. Bangladesh has massive reserves of high-quality, low-sulfur coal. Reserves that could fulfill this country's energy needs for at least 55 years, probably longer. So the country has energy. It's a question of how to develop these energies. Right now, for example, you have gas that could be produced but can't move because we have a deficiency of pipelines. Well, that needs to be resolved. That is resolvable and can be resolved. More gas can move. So I encourage the government to move expeditiously in utilizing, in developing its energy resources, because you're not going to create the Bengal tiger unless you have power, unless you have energy.
Ovid.
Since we're talking about infrastructure and energy, I think it's better to look, it's not a great idea to look at it as if it's a fixed pie. Because since we're talking about natural gas and coal, we need innovation to make the pie bigger. And that innovation can drive our infrastructural problems as well as move our economy forward and bring new opportunities for us. For example, I've been working on a plan which creates renewable energy, which is environment friendly, and it does not use on-grid system. Such innovations can really drive our infrastructure as well as move beyond the level where we need to accept trade-offs.
I think that's a very good point, and I'm very pleased that America has partnered with Bangladesh in exploring various alternative sources, renewable energy. For example, solar energy is one area. Another different approach to energy is conservation. And one of the initiatives that Secretary Clinton has promoted very vigorously, and what she talked about when she came here to Bangladesh, the idea of fuel-efficient cook stoves. Very simple technology. They cost, I think, about $7 or $8 US. They cut fuel consumption by about 45%. Imagine the impact of that on how many fewer trees will be cut down. It's just amazing. It's a simple thing. I really agree with you. It's not just looking at the fossil fuels. It's looking at the full array of how to deal creatively with the energy challenges.
No, true. And I think what the panel was toying with the idea was, I think, more of technology transfer. And we have gotten a lot of technology transfer in the past on various issues or various businesses or various ways in Bangladesh. And I think dealing with energy, definitely the technology is being transferred, which is, as you said, Secretary Clinton just shared about the cooking stoves with us. And recently, if you've been reading the newspapers or seeing the brick kilns are being converted into energy efficient as well as less polluting brick kilns, which is consistent firing instead of the old chambers. But in the discussion, if you can share a bit more about if there's any technology transfer plans that maybe the U.S. Embassy or the USAID can help us with, or something that we can do private to private if someone matches up, with that aspect.
That's really a good point. What does it mean to transfer technology? Does it mean you walk in with a bag of tricks and you put it on the table? No, it means you invest. Technology comes with investment. Investors go where it makes sense to go. Let me tell you this. No investor is going to come to Bangladesh because the American ambassador says, oh, you have to invest in Bangladesh. If an investor ever did that, I would never invest in that company. American investors, any investor, any private investor, will go where it makes sense to invest your resources. And so if I were Bangladesh, I would focus on what can I do as a country to make myself more appealing to investors. And with those investors will come the new technology, what you were just talking about, bringing the technology with investment.
Thanks, David. Mr. Ambassador, first of all, thank you for having us in your lovely home. I am founder of Teach for Bangladesh, which is an initiative based on Teach for America and aimed at eliminating education inequity in Bangladesh. And my question has to do with some of this sharing of technology and sharing of ideas. The Department of Energy in the U.S. is doing a lot of research on clean coal and running demonstrations around the world. Perhaps they'd be interested in doing a demonstration in Bangladesh and introducing clean coal to Bangladesh.
Oh, that's an exciting idea. Well, let me first comment on Teach for America. I can't.
Please, sir.
I
Please.
can't not. My son was a. I'm sorry, Teach for Bangladesh. My son was a Teach for America volunteer for 2 years, and going back to Tabit's very opening comment about human resources and the need to educate and train with skills, what better device than Teach for Bangladesh to reach out and educate people? I so applaud what you're doing. I'm familiar with what you're doing, as you know, and that is exactly the right thing to do, to engage people in volunteering, to help train and educate people. On the question of the Department of Energy, coal is also part of it. So how to develop that resource most effectively with least impact on the environment. I will look into that. That's the kind of thing, that's the kind of partnership I would really like to promote.
And sir, it's been reported that the American companies, they're often apprehensive about doing business in where they face many challenges. How can we really attract more American as well as like foreign investors to Bangladesh?
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, what is an investor thinking, a potential investor thinking? What's going through his mind? We have businessmen here. So I'll chime in. An investor hates most uncertainty. They hate uncertainty. They just want to know, they want to have certainty. So a country that creates uncertainty, will there be power? Will there be energy to run my fertilizer factory? Will there be political instability? Will there be hartals? Is the country facing years of instability because of disagreement over how to have an election? Those are the kinds of questions that make investors uneasy, because it's a big world. It is a big, big world. New countries are emerging. Just next door is Myanmar. Things are happening in Myanmar. No, at least I'll speak for myself. I never imagined I would see in my lifetime. They're happening right now. So investors are saying, where is the best place to go with my money, with my investment? It's a very basic question. I'll be eager. We have some businessmen here, eager to hear.
So I think we as a country should brand ourselves well. We have to be able to identify the good sides and put it up in front of the world to show them what we're good at. And I think that might be making everything attractive to other people.
Well, there is nothing that has been said here tonight that I agree with more than that statement. This is what I told to His Excellency, the President, Zila Rahman, when I gave him my credentials. 6 months, I said, Mr. President, you tell me, who are the people you know more creative, more dynamic, more energetic, more generous, more tough, more resilient than the people of Bangladesh? I said that to him. And the answer is nobody. Yeah. No, that's the answer. I'm not making it up. It's nobody. So here you are. You have these people who are so hardworking. Think of this. Think of what I'm saying. You have a strong cultural base that's shared. You have a common language. You don't have ethnic divides. You have communal harmony. Think of what I've said. I've been in countries where there's no common language. I've been in countries where people think of themselves as a tribe, not a national of a country. And all these advantages here.
Sir, thank you very much. And on that note, we'll take a break. দর্শক ছোট্ট একটা বিরতি নিচ্ছি, আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন, ফিরছি কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যেই। সবাইকে আবারও আমন্ত্রণ কনভারসেশন উইথ বাংলাদেশ, বাংলাদেশের সাথে আড্ডা অনুষ্ঠানে। আমরা কথা বলছি বাংলাদেশের অর্থনীতি নিয়ে, আর আমাদের সাথে আছেন ইউএস অ্যাম্বাসেডর টু বাংলাদেশ, অ্যাম্বাসেডর Dan Mozena. Sir, we are having a wonderful conversation, and Tabit, you were asking about corporate social responsibility.
Yes.
Just before we went.
To flourish as the Asian tiger, we need to develop the CSR more in the local businesses, or do you think the foreign direct investors are good enough to bring Bangladesh to the next level?
Well, I have to tell you, I am a firm believer in and practitioner of corporate social responsibility. I was ambassador in Angola for 3 years, just before I came here. And there, we set the world record for corporate social responsibility. So as I come here to Bangladesh, I bring this same agenda. You have American companies, Chevron, for example, supporting Smiling Sun clinics in Sylhet Division. I visited them, and that's their support at work, giving back to their communities. And one of the things I want to do more and more is to reach out to the private sector, because they want to give back, but sometimes they don't know how. They can work with us, the United States government, USAID. We know how to partnership and work with health, to work with climate change, to work with agricultural development. We know how to do that, and we are doing it, and we're going to do more.
That definitely would be great, because as I mentioned earlier, that the local companies probably don't have that management setup, if you can say, or the aspect of where to bring in that social responsibility money, where to invest, and also sometimes after you invest socially, how do you see the social dividends? You know, how do you see the results? Because something happens a year or two later, someone has to track it, someone has to get the feedback. There's another aspect to FDI, which is indirect, where the United States companies are doing a phenomenal job, where they're actually purchasing our ready-made garments, which is helping Bangladesh export. But down the line, the biggest impact is that more females are being employed, fertility rates are going down, which means population is coming within our acceptable control and limit. So in these two aspects, how do you think we can diversify our indirect foreign direct investments?
I'm telling you, the American market for Bangladeshi ready-made garments is at risk. I will also say, so is the European, but I'll let the Europeans talk about that. I better stay in my own lane. Because what is happening is there's a real tarnish of Bangladesh's reputation, mainly linked to labor issues. Everyone knows the killing of Aminul Islam. Secretary Clinton spoke about that when she was here. There's concern that the TICFA, the Trade and Investment Cooperation Forum Agreement, doesn't ever get signed, and people think Bangladesh is walking away from its labor commitments. I get phone calls. I have a phone call 2 weeks ago today, from the chief executive of I think the largest American buyer of Bangladeshi ready-made garments. Number 1 or number 2, I'm not sure which. He is so nervous about the reputation of his company, because he's a huge buyer of Bangladeshi ready-made garments from over 100 factories. And he said there's this negative linkage to Bangladesh on labor issues, on fire issues, other issues. It's this negative. And media in America and in Europe are running these negative stories about Aminul Islam and other things like that. And he was very concerned. Other American buyers, huge ones, you're wearing their clothes. Every person in here, except the women who have only saris on, is wearing their brand clothes. I guarantee it. They're nervous. So I really, my message, if you want to increase the indirect investment, then I think this labor issue has to be dealt with. There's Aminul Islam thing. The right of labor to organize is a huge constraint, and it plays big in Europe, it plays big in America, and nobody's talking about it here.
Apart from ready-made garment, there aren't much to talk about U.S.-Bangladesh bilateral trade. So according to you, which sectors contain the most potential for economic cooperation between the two countries?
There are so many. For example, I mentioned earlier about small freighters. Bangladesh produces, they found this niche market for small freighters. And you know who their next target market is? America. The Great Lakes, you know, the 5 Great Lakes. Small freighters that Bangladesh produces, perfect. Jute. Jute is a wonder fiber that is underutilized, lack of research, but that is a product that would sell enormously in America. And finished leather goods, I'm wearing a Bangladeshi belt. I don't think these are Bangladeshi shoes. It's beautiful stuff. And those are the kinds of items that could market. Already Disney is doing IT here, animation. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. It could be huge. All these things. Bangladesh is a natural partner for America.
You know, often 21st century is often termed as the Asian century. And we have macroeconomic stability, we have outward orientation, but still Bangladesh is not included in the Millennium Challenges account of United States of America. And we know that ready-made garments is a very, very potential factor for us, but still we have to provide 15% duty on our ready-made garments products. So how much hopeful can we be of seeing more and more made in Bangladesh product in the United States market?
Oh, well, you raised 2 different issues. One is the Millennium Challenge account. And when Secretary Clinton was here, she discussed the Millennium Challenge account with the Prime Minister and with the Foreign Minister both, and also with the leader of the opposition. The Millennium Challenge account, as you know, is an enormous, and I think the best American tool, assistance tool for promoting development. What it does is it provides the resources to qualifying countries, $300 million, $500 million, $700 million, to implement the development agenda of that country. So it's not me saying, oh, I think Bangladesh has to do this. It's Bangladesh saying Bangladesh should do this. And America is saying, okay, we're willing to help you pay for it. But you have to qualify to participate in this program.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we'll take a break. দর্শক ছোট্ট একটা বিরতি নিচ্ছি, আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন, ফিরছি কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যেই। সবাইকে আবারও আমন্ত্রণ কনভারসেশন উইথ বাংলাদেশ, বাংলাদেশের সাথে আড্ডা অনুষ্ঠানে। আমরা কথা বলছি বাংলাদেশের অর্থনীতি নিয়ে, আর আমাদের সাথে আছেন ইউএস অ্যাম্বাসেডর টু বাংলাদেশ, অ্যাম্বাসেডর ড্যান মোজেনা।
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Regarding the Trade and Investment Cooperation Forum Agreement, can you elaborate on that a bit more for the audience? Because as far as we know historically, last time in 1989, there was a trade agreement signed between Bangladesh and the United States. After that, we've heard a lot about the TIFA, T-I-F-A. Then we just don't know what happened because of lack of information. And now we're discussing the TICFA. If you can just elaborate more for the audience, what it entails, where is it that maybe we can play a better role as the youth or the future tigers of Asia?
TIFA, as you said, Trade and Investment Framework Agreement, is a mechanism that America has used with over, I think it's almost 100 countries now, to set up this forum to identify and resolve obstacles to trade and investment. I signed one of these in Angola, and it's a very helpful mechanism. However, in Bangladesh, this has been difficult, and we have been in the process for about 4 years to conclude one of these agreements. The first effort went for about 2 years and finally just fizzled out. Now, this is a new effort, and they changed the name in Bangladesh. They didn't like TIFA. Honestly, I don't know why, but it doesn't matter what you call it. So the new name is Trade and Investment Cooperation Forum Agreement. That's a good name. I like that. And now we're on about year 2. What I tell everyone is Bangladesh should do what is good for Bangladesh. It's very simple. This business is not rocket science. Very simple. What's good for Bangladesh? Is it good for Bangladesh to sign this very simple one-point agreement with America to identify obstacles to trade and investment and how to resolve them? Is that good for Bangladesh, or is that bad for Bangladesh? If it's bad for Bangladesh, do not sign this.
আমার মনে হয় যে মিস্টার অ্যাম্বাসেডর খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ একটা কথা বলেছেন যে টিকফার ব্যাপারে আমরা অনেক কথা শুনছি, কিন্তু আসলে মিস্টার অ্যাম্বাসেডর যেটা বললেন যে যেটা বাংলাদেশের জন্য ভালো, বাংলাদেশের অবশ্যই সেটাই করা উচিত। যদি বাংলাদেশের মনে হয় যে বাংলাদেশের জন্য এটা বাংলাদেশের পারপাস সার্ভ করবে না, তাহলে বাংলাদেশ অবশ্যই টিকফা সাইন করবে না। আমার মনে হয় একটা প্রশ্ন আছে।
I think we keep repeatedly coming back to corruption and roadblocks alongside the advantages and everything. And one of the things that repeatedly comes up is the political instability in the country. And that comes with almost all the agreements and everything that goes on. It sort of gets its roadblock there. So what is your opinion about the political instability in the country, and how do you see the political scenario evolving in the next decade or two? Is there something that you...
Well, I think Bangladesh is a stable country. I think Bangladesh has been a democratic country since, what, 91? I think Bangladesh is a democracy and must be a democracy for the reasons I mentioned before, about the cultural reasons. I think that bodes well. In the short run is concern about between today and the next elections, end of 2013, January maybe 2014, somewhere there. How will those elections go? Will there be an agreement among the major political parties on how to hold those elections? I say give the country a break. It takes time to build these institutions, the pillars of democracy, the media, the civil society, a judicial system that's effective, the police system. These are all the pillars of democracy. And there is no magic wand that you wave and all these things just happen like that. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes time, and it is hard.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, as you know that viewers submitted their questions on U.S. Embassy Dhaka's Facebook page. We received a great response. But unfortunately we could pick only two. And the first one is by Shafkat ul Muswi. His question is to you: how can the United States and Bangladesh cooperate with each other to expand business opportunities so that the mass population benefits?
Investors go where it makes sense to go, where there's certainty, where there's reduced red tape, where there's less corruption, and where the infrastructure is good and effective. Those are the kinds of things as I look ahead.
True. You have also mentioned in the past, and you continue to mention, that the Bengal tiger can and should become the Asian tiger very soon. Another comment you've made is that Bangladesh, to reach or its old ways of being the golden Bengal, must take the lead, must take the initiative. So what can the youth that are the tiger cubs, as I like to call them all the time, what can they do you think, to achieve these goals, to assist in taking the lead or to take the initiative, the youth of Bangladesh?
I think the first point about young people is they're actually the leaders of today. In Bangladesh, they are the leaders of today and the leaders of tomorrow. Because I say leaders of today because they're the ones who are bringing new ideas forward. It's not easy to lead in a society that has generational differentiation. But I think young people in business, I think young people in civil society have much to offer. I look at the civil society organizations that I work with through my youth council, that the American government supports through our other programs. Amazing things are happening, led by youth today. Not tomorrow. I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm talking today, this very day. These young people are organizing volunteers, are doing outreach, are a whole range of activities being done today. That's one way youth can make a difference. I think a lot of young people are working in family businesses, working with uncles and parents and things like that. And it's not easy. I know this because in my family, myself or my siblings, none of us could work with our father. And so we tried, but that was not going to work. And it didn't work. But maybe in Bangladesh, they're more clever than we were. And bringing new ideas to the business world. New ideas, the value of being a fair trade brand. That's tremendously valuable.
So, sir, I think we should hear from our young panelists that what role the youth can play. We have many social young entrepreneurs here.
Or tell us what we can teach the rest of the world.
I think youth of Bangladesh are already contributing in two folds. If you see in the corporate sector, going to the corporate sector and working as a skilled labor is contribution in one way. Second of all, as Ovik mentioned, doing youth activities and volunteerism, a concept not very much popular in the earlier ages. Now, kids are very much active in terms of volunteerism and getting involved. So I think we started the process of contributing to the society, and I'm really hopeful. Personally, I'm really hopeful about that.
We are working together. In any event, we see people who are working in the same field. But I think when we are working, the foremost challenge what we faced is the lack of communication. Lack of communication with the multinational companies. When we are arranging fund, we are facing that problem for our organization. So I think despite of all those challenges, we have that resilience to stand back and work together. But I think that if we can work a little bit more on that communication sector to have a communication bridge between the young people and the tycoons who are working in the corporate world, I think that would be better for us.
In the front row.
Thank you. Just to build on what Shirin has just said, I also think that today we may be representing the youth of Bangladesh here in this platform. But at the same time, I think that although we are all youth, we are also investing in the next generation. So we youth are investing in youth. And I think that's the most important component for Bangladesh to take away. Because at the end of the day, if we look at a country no further than Taiwan, they are not endowed with natural resources. But yet they have done so well. Why? Because they have invested in their education. So I think that this young generation should, what we are trying to do over here is we are trying to invest in the next generation through educational projects, through leadership development projects, through active citizenship and volunteerism projects.
দর্শক আপনারা জানেন যে আমরা বলেছিলাম আপনাদেরকে আপনারা চাইলে আপনাদের প্রশ্ন পোস্ট করতে পারেন ইউএস এমবাসি ঢাকার ফেসবুক পেজে। আপনারা অনেক প্রশ্ন দিয়েছেন, তার মধ্যে থেকে আমরা দুটো প্রশ্ন চুজ করেছি। একটা আমরা অলরেডি মিস্টার অ্যাম্বাসেডরকে আমরা জিজ্ঞাসা করেছি, আমাদের দ্বিতীয় প্রশ্নে যাচ্ছি আমরা। And the question has been asked by Azizul Hakim on the future of United States-Bangladesh relations. Foreign policy is constantly changing. Friends can turn to foes and vice versa. In this context, what can we, as a Bangladeshi nation, expect from the United States in the coming decade?
Foreign relations are based on and driven by interest. So, for example, the government of Bangladesh, the foreign policy of Bangladesh is based on promoting the interests of Bangladesh and the people of Bangladesh. The foreign policy of America is based on promoting the interests of America and the people of America. As a diplomat, I look for areas where the foreign, in my case, I'm the ambassador to Bangladesh. So I'm looking for places where the interests of Bangladesh and the interests of America mesh, where we share interests, where we share values, and we can work together to the benefit of both. And because of what I just explained, and because of my belief that America, that Bangladesh share the interests of a peaceful region, of a stable region, of a prosperous region, of a healthy people, of a democratic nation. We share those. Because we share those interests, we share those values, I believe our policies, our foreign policies, our other policies will converge and be consistent. So the questioners talks about friends becoming foes and all this stuff. Well, I don't know what that is. Why would Bangladesh and America become foes? We share interests, we share values, we are friends. Hillary Clinton came here, why? Because Bangladesh matters, and she wanted to institutionalize the partnership between America and Bangladesh. That's why she came. Very simple. No big secret. She's here to institutionalize that partnership because we share interests and values, and we want to make it stronger, more effective.
Sir, thank you very much. We are at the end of our show. Can you please offer any final thoughts?
Well, as a final thought, I just have to explain that my wife and I are so glad to be back in Bangladesh because I can't think of any place I want to be more to work as a representative of my president, of my country, of my government, than here in Bangladesh. Because I believe in the partnership between America and Bangladesh. And I believe this partnership can work to the benefit of the people of Bangladesh, of America, and of the region of South Asia. I don't think life gets much better than that. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and your...
Shabir, thank you very much.
দর্শক, আজকের আড্ডা এখানেই শেষ করছি। পরের মাসে আমরা আবারও আসব নতুন কোনো ব্যক্তির সাথে আড্ডা দিতে আপনাদেরই সাথে। সবাই ভালো থাকবেন আর দেশের সাথেই থাকুন।